And we're back with Web Wednesdays. Jason here, and we're in a brand new series where we're taking a look at how faith and mental health collide and what that means for you and I as we engage God in the local church in day-to-day life as we walk through this, because we cannot do this alone. And so sit back and buckle up as we get into episode 3 of our series, Anthem of Hope. Last week, Brett shared that the Bible has these moments of encouragement that even while we're still struggling, that God is for us. But I want to ask you guys a question. Do you ever have a moment where you're going through a trial, something difficult, something harmful, even something in your own mind, and you are basically refusing to reach out to God or even to other people? I know for me, I find it terribly difficult to reach out to others, and I struggle with first bringing it to God. I feel like I can do this on my own. Maybe it's a pride thing. Maybe it's an ego thing. Maybe it's just I want to conquer something. But however I want to frame it, or you want to frame it, when we refuse to bring those things to God, we're actually sinning. It's not a sin to have a wrestling with it, but it is a sin to say, I'm not ever going to bring this to God and to others. I'm going to be silent in my struggle and try to figure it out on my own. You see, God directs us to bring our requests to Him, to bring our hurts, our worries, our pain, our mental health to Him so He can care for us and so that we let Him know that we're relying on Him and not ourselves. I want to share with you guys a passage over in 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 6 and 7. The writer shares, "Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that He may lift you up," and hear this, "in due time. Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you." See, I emphasize that in due time because many of us want it immediately, right? We want everything to happen and go, and make it all just snappy, hurry up and get it done. I don't want to deal with pain. But it's in the midst of those painful moments and those struggles that it forces us to rely on God. And could it be that while God doesn't cause our struggles, He leverages those things to remind us that He's the one in control and can bring us comfort? And my hope, if you don't hear anything else, that you hear this main idea, that refusing to face your depression or anxiety or mental health can be crippling. You see, God calls us to turn to Him in our quest for hope and for peace. And I just want to share a personal moment with you, and it's one that I don't share a lot from the stage. I do share that I struggle and have struggled with anxiety and with depression, and it's been mitigated with prayer and accountability and counseling and waves of medication when needed. And I tell you what, the times where I have felt it the most, the times where I've struggled the most, have been in the moments where I haven't reached out to anybody, where I wasn't praying and talking to God about it. You know, I was praying, but not about that, because God, I'm going to fix this on my own. And I wasn't telling friends, and I was being quiet. And just recently, I had to go out of town to speak at a conference. And I knew that I was going to stand over the course of that weekend in front of thousands of kids. And my anxiety, for the first time in a long time, was just doing this. I didn't want to get up and go to work. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to get up on Sunday mornings and preach. Not because I didn't think those things were important, but my anxiety was driving every bit of that. But in the past, what I would have done is kept quiet and not tell anybody, and refused to talk to God about it. But this time, because I've grown in my faith and my reliance on Him, it was different. The first thing that I did when I realized that it was creeping back into my life was starting to pray and go, God, help me in these moments because this is not okay and I need you. Second thing is I began telling my wife and a couple of very close friends about the anxiety that was running through my life and in my mind and in my heart, and saying, listen, I need some help. I need you to be praying for me because I need to begin to overcome this, and I need some supernatural intervention. One of the other things that I did is I reached out and talked to my doctor and seeing what are some of the things that I can be doing to overcome and mitigate this. And that way, in this multifaceted approach, being proactive in bringing it to God and to others, began to calm my anxiety and help me to see that this was something that was a little irrational, that was a little bit of a moment where I needed to check myself, my relationship with God, and God used that opportunity for me to rely on Him and others to help me, to invite them into my story, and honestly to build greater bonds in the process. All along the way, I started seeing my friendships going into another level and dynamic. My reliance on God through prayer was growing even further than it already was. And so I want to challenge you that when you're walking through these moments where life is difficult and you don't feel like you can make it another day, these times where you are just battling crippling mental health, anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, these moments, that first and foremost that you would reach out to God. You say, God, I need you to care for me. That's why that passage that we looked at, God calls us to turn to Him. He said, when we lift you up in due time, cast your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. God, you are the one that can hold the weight of something that I can't do on my own. And I challenge you to reach out to others, whether that's a friend, a family member, maybe it is a counselor or a professional that's able to help you with that. You see, there's no one-size-fits-all way to walk through these pieces, but it can't be done in silence. And so our prayer for you is that you would reach out and talk to somebody, and we want to be able to help you with that. Down at the link below, there's some different ways there that you can contact us, and we are not the end-all be-all to what's happening in your life. There may be a professional that we are able to refer you to or to sit down and talk. There's so many different ways that our mental health can grow, but the first thing that we need to do is to come out of the darkness and talk with someone and bring it to God so we can begin a road towards healing and managing the peace that is going on so God can begin to heal us from the inside out. Share this with a friend that just, they need some encouragement and need to know that they're not alone. We are all a bit of a mess, but let's be a mess together and help one another towards healing. I love you guys. I'm praying for you, and I cannot wait until next Web Wednesday as we continue our series, Anthem of Hope.